about it. So we have problems local government-wise communicating. And social media sometimes is our worst enemy, because once somebody puts something on social media, that becomes fact. So I say all the time, for every comment that is incorrect on social media, I have 24 hours of work to do trying to correct that. So bottom line, we need to do a better job of getting information out there. But here's some comments I saw on social media I just wanted to address, so you don't have to ask the question again. Sunset clause on the ordinance. Was this ordinance supposed to go away? There's no sunset clause in this ordinance that said it was supposed to go away if any conditions were met. Does the restaurant tax fund roads or sidewalks? No, the restaurant tax cannot be used to fund roads, road maintenance, or sidewalks. Does the tax fund the boys' high school basketball program? No, no revenue from the restaurant tax funds the boys' basketball program. A comment, the city continues to raise property taxes every year. That is incorrect. The city property taxes are at the lowest rate they've been since 2008. Park concessions took in $1 million last year. Phil?
No, sir.
I'll just let you in. Okay, no, that is incorrect. We would not even be having this discussion if the parks were bringing in $1 million. Another comment, it's an honor system who pays the tax. That is incorrect. As I said before, all of our restaurants are great partners with us and pay what they're supposed to. Murals. Are the murals downtown being funded by the restaurant tax? No, we're not taking money from the restaurant tax to fund the murals. That's either coming out of the city's general budget. We did make a grant to the Arts Center, and they put some murals in place, but that was out of the general fund money. That wasn't out of restaurant tax. Or our downtown revitalization helps pay for some of those things, and that's an entity outside of city government. And then the last comment was no restaurants will ever want to come to our town if we raise the tax. So Moorhead has a 3% tax. They just had another restaurant open up this week. So all those cities that have a 3% tax still are having restaurants come to their cities too. So you can argue it whatever way you want. I'm just saying that I don't think we're going to lose any restaurants just because we have a restaurant tax in our community. So thank you for being very patient with me. I've provided you information. So now it's my time to be quiet and to allow you all to speak. I'd like to ask that if you do wish to speak, we didn't do a good job of this morning of just identifying who you are. Tom's trying to cover this for the paper. We're trying to make sure that we have the information on our website so that people can view the meeting. So if you can just identify yourself, that kind of helps with the conversation. So Greg, you want to begin? Yes, sir.
I have a question for us. So this morning we had a very informative and good meeting. I personally would not like to have a conversation to repeat what I said this morning and what we talked about. So will you all have an opportunity to watch or hear what was discussed this morning? Will you all do that?
Yeah, Greg, and I don't want to cut
save you a lot of time.
No, and I don't want to cut you off, but what I would say is at our evening meeting, because we are still missing a couple of council members, I'm going to recap all of our discussions quickly, and then the morning forum is loaded on the website, and they know that that's part of their task. They all just got off work, but they have to go watch that meeting.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes. Sheriff, thank you.
Sure. I'm David Charles. I came here tonight to say two things. One, thank you. And I want to listen to people while you strive to make our community a better place. That's very, very important. And I appreciate the hard work and the labor of not only you, but Phil and Tracy and everyone else in the service that's in this community, because everybody contributes one way or the other. Sorry, you said, oh, you're not council. So I appreciate it. Second thing is, I'm sorry. I apologize for the hatred, the vitriol, and all the false innuendos and all the false information that's been put out by individuals about everything, be it both sides of this. It's not necessary. We're a community. We're friends. We see each other on the street. You need to act civil. You need to make sure that you don't alienate people that you'll need in the future. Because we all have family. And when they see these public attacks, it's detrimental to them. And if you can't behave that way, then why would your opinion hold more weight than anyone else's? Think about it. You shut down people when you do that. Do not do that. They don't deserve it. You don't deserve it. I haven't witnessed any, but here tonight, but work together for the common good of our community. Because tomorrow morning when you wake up, you're going to be in this community. You go to bed tomorrow night, you're still going to be here. So work together to find solutions to these problems. I served 20 years on the Parks and Rec Board. All of these problems that you said were needs are needs. We apply for grant after grant, trying to correct it. There aren't any. So, do you need a parking lot? Or do you want a parking lot? Okay, so it's a simple question. When you go out, if you don't think the parks are necessary, they don't serve a purpose, that's your right as an American to think that opinion. But if you do think it's necessary, you got to find a way to fix it. And it's not for Aaron, myself, but we all have a lot of children out there, and we'd like to have something for them. So with that being said, I have to go to a physical court meeting. I'm required the KRS to be there. I want to reiterate the thank you part. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Sheriff. We appreciate those comments. And once again, I will reiterate, if there is misinformation out there, a lot of times it's because we just haven't communicated well. So that's what we're trying to do through these public hearings, is just have you understand our position, and then we need to understand your position and your beliefs. So, yes, Robert.
Okay, like Greg said, I don't want to repeat everything we said this morning. Obviously, my name's Robin, we're with Dairy Queen, and we would oppose this tax only due to the fact that I think, like you said, most of the citizens of Mount Sterling probably don't even realize what's happening. Aren't reading the paper, or like me, not on Facebook, not on social media. So I'm speaking on behalf of my customers. And I think we should really look into trying, like you said earlier, I think one thing needs to be repeated that we said this morning is we should put this to a vote. I don't do anything with this money. Like you said, we just collect it and pass it over. I have no control over how it is spent. I haven't even appointed people on the board of the park. That's appointed by you. It's not voted by me of who's on the board and who's spending this money and how they're spending it. But if the city could put it on a ballot question, do you want to raise the taxes to improve the parks department in your city? And yes or no. And then if the citizens overwhelmingly vote yes, we would love to improve our parks department, then I think we should all be on board with it. And I agree with you that they want it. The people have spoken and their word has been heard. But most people, I don't think, even realize that this might even be happening, that this discussion. I know you said you're posting it and it's everywhere, but realistically, people have lives and they're not understanding. But if it was a question on a ballot, would you be opposed for or against or for a raised tax? Because what we're not saying is it affects 100% of the city of Mount Sterling who wants to eat in the city of Mount Sterling. It's affecting everybody in the city of Mount Sterling. So that's one point I think that really needs to be repeated. I would really encourage you guys to ask people on a ballot. This is a question that can be asked.
And Robin, I won't cut you off, and I got a list, but.
No, it's just one.
No, and that's a good comment. So, and just so you understand, well, one, I'd say that's why we're slow walking this and just trying to have conversations, because in the past you try to have a conversation and it becomes no right off the bat, we're not having it. we want to slow walk this and have conversations and educate as many people as we can, have the paper write articles on it, and come to the city council meetings, have forums, do whatever we can. What you would be suggesting is that we put a sales tax in place, because restaurant tax is what it is. So that's a separate tax that you're asking the city to consider putting in place that would be
The question
specifically.
ballot, like the question of, are you opposed to voting yes for okay marijuana, the sale of marijuana in Kentucky? You know, that's on votes on different cities. You know, questions, just a question, not a vote of yes, this is happening or no. What's your opinion? Do you know what I mean?
So you're just asking for a question to be put on the ballot, not the separate tax that we have the ability to put on the
So
ballot.
then we know when I can look at my customers in the eye, and of course you all realize that they're just thinking I'm raising my prices. They're not understanding that I just collect this tax. I have no fight in this. I'm just gonna collect this tax and pass it along. But I can look at my customer in the eye and say, you said yes on the ballot that overwhelmingly that you are, that you want this to happen. And then you could vote for it to happen.
And then, so I would just point out, that would only be city residents you'd be asking. So
Yes.
county residents would have no say-so.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
And the other point I wanted to make is, that can we not work within the budget that we already have? Yes, I would love a shiny new in-ground pool at my house, or maybe a gazebo, or maybe a whole bunch of great stuff. But I have to budget and plan for that stuff. And why can't you budget and plan with the money you already have to fix the things that we already have? Because I have heard that, you know, and I'm not sure if it's true or not, you know how rumors are, that we're already talking about facilities, an indoor facility or a new facility. And, but you're already saying we don't have the money to maintain the facilities we already have. So I'm
Yeah.
not just squelch those rumors. I'd like to know as a citizen what the 5.2 million, you know, a list of what's on that.
Yeah, I've read those out, but we can see if we can get you a copy of what that 5.2 million is, and I understand, and I respect where y'all are coming from. I say it before, you're all restaurant owners, so I know you see things a little differently,
Yeah.
right? And you've got to hear the public a little bit more than most folks. With that being said, when you talk about budgets, one of our frustrations is we have set up a Parks and Rec system. And when I say we, the city and the county, and we provided them with funding, and it's not enough to meet kind of some of their needs. You can put the wants aside, but it's not meeting some of their needs. So it's going to start taking an impact on our budgets if the city now starts having to dig into our general fund to help pay for these upgrades. Same for the county. And then I have to start looking, there's that whole cascading effect. Well, how am I going to find more revenue? And I got to start looking at those other sources of revenue. And I go back to, I really don't want to look at property taxes, but if that's where the community wants to steer a conversation that property taxes are more appropriate, then we want to be open and receive that input. So we're all just trying to figure it out, Robin, and we'll continue that. And thank you so much for your input. Yeah. Yes, Tammy.
Tammy Lennon. I am all for Parks and Recs. I like seeing the kids out there and involved and doing great things, but I would like to see us be able to do it a different way other than the restaurant tax.
Okay.
And I would love to see it on the ballot, the election coming up, to see if people care enough to do that. And it would be the city people voting, because that's where the money's going to come from.
Okay. Could I ask Tammy, since you said no, just what's the reason for the no? That you don't want to see a restaurant tax?
Well,
Just so we have it, we're all making notes, so yeah.
I have a budget. My husband has Parkinson's. I work for the school as a cook. We have to stay in that budget. I had to resurface my driveway. I had to do it. I had to get the 5-gallon buckets and drag them out there and pour it and do it. I'm not saying I want you guys doing that, because I respect every bit of what you do. But I would like to see us, I know grants are hard to come by, but we've got to learn that we can't keep getting more cash. We have to be more efficient somehow. I have no idea how the funding and everything and all the costs, but one thing I have thought about in myself, looking around in our community, I'd like to see our inmates help mow, and a little bit of that cash that they would get from mowing would be half of what the regular people would get, but that would go in a fund for them to help them to save for getting a place to live in a car when they get out of jail, stuff like that, help them with their phone call times and stuff. So I'm gonna hang around and I'll try to show up more often.
You're more than welcome, always welcome.
Yeah, can I ask you a question? Where do you live?
Garden Springs,
How often do you eat Dairy Queen?
once a week,
Okay, why not more?
because we can't afford it. We have a budget. And if my grandson goes with me, then it costs more than it normally would. We buy the 2 for $5, except for maybe once a month, one of us might get a $7 meal, and that's it. And part of the reason we go there, we can afford that. We can eat somewhat healthy and have a drink and visit with people in our community that we love. And that's how we all have to get. In our workplaces, or the school, we count how many kids come through. The next time we serve that meal, that's exactly how many I prepare. And then if I have to add to it for more, that's what we do to save our money. And I will be willing to help. I don't have a lot of resources and things, but I will be willing to get more information out in our community through the schools and stuff to try to help people be more informed.
Well, thank you, Tammy. Appreciate your feedback. Who'd like to speak next? Oh, come on, we have a big group. Yes, Elizabeth, I know you wanted.
Actually, just to read from Wes and Rochelle,
Okay?
and I hate public speaking and want to vomit.
You're already off to a good start. You're doing good.
On behalf of Amazing Grayson, we first want to say how grateful we are for this community. Unfortunately, due to catering commitments today, this could exist because of the incredible support Mount Sterling has shown us over the past 5 years who were unable to attend this meeting in person. We understand that taxes are sometimes necessary for growth and improvements, and we truly appreciate the investments our city makes into our parks and recreation programs and community spaces. We are proud supporters of youth sports and local initiatives, and we value seeing those things thrive. I'm nervous.
You're doing great. You're doing great.
However, we respectfully believe that the current 2% restaurant tax should remain as it is, or even be reconsidered rather than increased. A 50% increase could significantly impact not only restaurants, but also families in our community. For some households, even a small rise in costs can mean the difference between enjoying a meal out together or staying home. That ripple effect directly affects local small businesses like ours that have worked tirelessly to build something meaningful here. You want to take over? Owning a restaurant in Mount Sterling is more than a job to us. It is a dream we have poured years of hard work, long nights, and sacrifices into. Like many small business owners, we are not chasing wealth, we are chasing stability for our families, opportunities for our children, and the chance to contribute something positive to the town that we love. We truly hope our city leaders and community members will carefully consider the impact this decision could have, not just on our business, but on the many small businesses that have helped shape Mount Sterling for years. We believe there may be other solutions that could support growth without placing additional strain on local restaurants, and we would be more than willing to be part of that conversation. Thank you for your time, for your service to our community, and for your consideration. We are proud to call Mount Sterling home, and we remain committed to serving, supporting, and growing alongside this community for many years to come. Okay, I'm done.
You did great. Well done. Okay,
Now,
well, thank
Wes and Michelle from Amazing Grace.
Sure, I got it down. Thank you very much for sharing. Okay. Anyone else wish to speak? Yes, sir.
Adam Sparks, I live out in Jeffersonville. I'm kind of new to getting into all this, but I would like to say, I would like to reiterate, what's your name? What Robin mentioned. It actually needs to be something to put to not just the city, but the county of Mount Sterling as a whole, because people in Camargo and Jeffersonville will also be affected by it. Because we come here to eat, because there's hardly nothing out our way. So we come here to eat, so it's going to impact us. On me personally, it highly affects me. I am on a fixed income right now, due to a work injury. So I am definitely not able to eat. When I do, I have to, like she does, have to be very frugal about how I spend my money. Which kind of segues into another point that she made. I had to cut. I had to cut my wants, really prioritize what I really need, which obviously was mortgage, regular bills, et cetera, So there's a lot of things that I had to ride my bike today just to save on gas. So to reiterate what she was saying, maybe we can find some places within the city to cut back on some things to help provide what is required. On a personal level, I think the idea of Box Park was a fantastic idea, but it wasn't the right time. We didn't have the money at the time, so now we're stuck with having to maintain it as well, which leaves us in a deficit as far as our parks go. It hindered the maintenance of Easy Walker, and with the construction of the mound and the dog park out here at the old Cribble Park, a little bit too much going on and not enough money to fund it. Which, and from my view, is what has led us to talking about this tax increase. So that's about where I'm at.
Okay, thank you, Adam, for your comments. Anyone else? Yes, Laura.
Hi, my name is Laura Grayson, and I am wearing a few hats this evening. So my first hat is I am the treasurer for the Gateway Regional Arts Center, which also receives funding, so just a little load off of you, so you know you can get on that. We do actually get a little bit of this funding, and we use that to service the children and the arts here in this community. We see 45,000 visitors across 22 counties at the Regional Arts Center. And if you've ever gone to a play or a musical or seen any of the gallery exhibits out there, just know that that's where your funds are going. The other hat that I have is that I'm a parent in this community. My children go to the park. I take my dog to the dog park. I patron lots of restaurants here in this community, and I do live within the city. I am for this restaurant tax. The 70 cents a month in additional costs, and I understand a fixed income, is worth the services that we are providing with those funds. And I understand there's wants and needs and those types of things, and we can kind of sharpen our pencils on what those numbers look like. But those additional funds would really provide some extra support and extra services that we can do as a community. So I appreciate you.
Thank you, Laura, for your comments. Okay, anyone else? Shannon? Shannon, I'm sorry if I missed someone.
I'm Shannon Denniston, and I just want to say a few words about the tax increase. I've talked to a whole lot of people. Everybody I've talked to has been unanimously against it. Not a single person I've spoken with is for it. It's not a matter of whether we want our parks to be nice and shiny. We just have too many parks, as Mr. Sparks mentioned. Bott's Park, was pitched to the public as going to be a free park. It wasn't going to cost us anything because I believe it was donated. Now we've spent hundreds of thousands I'm not sure exactly how much, and if we're done spending on that park with improving it. But it has a lot of overlap with Easy Walker Park. First thing I would do if I were in your shoes is, number one, have the public vote on it. But number two, maybe we have to temporarily lock those gates at Potts Park. I know that's a tough decision, nobody wants to make that decision, but I'm not saying sell it, it's just we can't afford to maintain this number of parks for such a small town as Mount Sterling. The other thing is, there's other ways that the city can raise funding. I'm a fan of organic growth. I own the lot behind Catalan's restaurant, and I've been talking to a lot of large restaurants, some of which I believe are larger than Catalan's. Catalan's, as my understanding, contributes about $100,000 a year, just in that 2%. Now, I don't know if that's accurate, that's hearsay, but that's a whole lot of money. If we had some restaurants like them, 3 more restaurants will fit easily on that lot. That's $300,000+ more annually that would come here organically. Another thing is the city has been purchasing dilapidated properties. A lot of these are abandoned. People may not know that they have received them in a will or aired them. There's a lot of weed lien fees. I think the city charges around, is it $250 maybe to cut the grass or something. So a lot of these weed lien fees have amounted so high where the people have had to forfeit their properties. I talked to someone today, and they said that was the situation they were in. They were trying to do, I guess, a house flip, and they had some problems anyway. The liens mounted where they just had to give the lot up. So some of these people, I think it's all voluntary from what I've heard. Maybe they lost these properties, they weren't aware that they owned them. But it's my understanding, somewhere around 40 lots or so. We talked about this at the morning session. I hope to have that exact number. I'm a real estate broker. I can tell you that a lot in Mount Sterling today, 20,000 would be a cheap lot, 30,000 would probably be an average lot. If we allow people to build duplexes, triplexes, or quads on these lots, the value is going to raise to about 40,000 to 60,000 per lot. These are lots that have already been reset. They already have a water meter in the ground that has a lot of value, and it's self-water meters. Get one installed, who may have one, but they're very expensive today. And then they already have sewer available. So these lots already have amenities. It'd be real easy to pick up and build affordable housing on them or handicap housing. What I don't want to see happen is the city take these lots and donate them to a nonprofit, aka a business in disguise. I would like to see the city put these to absolute auction. I had a friend that was outbid by the city on a lot. He was bid up to about $10,000. He still had about $6,000 in renovation to remove the structure from the lot, so he was looking at $16,000 out the gate. It's just, we should never have a government that bids against us, that uses our money to work against us. And that's just something I take very personal. I mean, I've been to some of these auctions, and the public, I'll just say, doesn't show up out because they're afraid that you're going to outbid them like you bid this person. So that's what, and I've talked to a lot of builders and developers, and that's what their consensus is. A lot of them are not wanting to build here anymore because it's drama after drama versus like in Winchester, Clark County, you're in and out. Planning and zoning, you're in and out. One meeting, Chipotle, I represented a multi-million-dollar storage facility operator, nationwide operator. 2 meetings, we were in and out, multi-million-dollar facility. Multi-million-dollar facility now that expanded that tax base. Here in Montgomery County, we grew our tax base last year from $2.1 billion to $2.2 billion. That's a $100 million increase. Milk prices, I think it's very important to talk about the rise in milk prices. They're up about 30%. I was looking at some numbers here that I didn't see earlier, and it said that we have doubled in 6 years the amount of money that Parks and Rec receives. This tax is doubled. It's more than double, actually. It went from 600,000.